With your permission, I rise just to make a brief statement, because I've indeed spoken on developments in the ministries for which I have responsibility in previous parliaments. But, Mr. Speaker, given the fact that tomorrow is an important day in the life of the indigent and poor people, specifically regarding the acquisition of houses, of a place to lay their head, I think, and I would reserve most of the comments for tomorrow actually, but I should make a brief statement to the entire nation. First, to invite people out tomorrow morning at 9:30 at Wellington Road, where we will have the launching and signing ceremony of the program which has been undertaken by the NHC on behalf of the Ministry of Human Settlement. Before I do that, Mr. Speaker, however, I have to introduce to you that 21 hours ago, a post was made by a member of this parliament, to wit, the Honourable Gentleman from constituency number 3, representative for number 3. And in that post, Mr. Speaker, he concluded the post with a statement which says, while the government, in collusion with the Speaker, perpetuates this fraud in order to silence the opposition, the people's business is being left unattended. Mr. Speaker, I reference this statement to make the point, again, that while the man is young, the gentleman is young, certainly the member is young, but it also shows how inexperienced he is. And indeed, it also shows that the people from constituency number 3 have elected a very inexperienced gentleman to lead them on behalf, in Parliament as the representative. But I don't think that he should be forgiven, Mr. Speaker, for his inexperience. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to refer you and this Honourable House to the writings which have been recorded in Erskine May's book on parliamentary practice and procedure. I'm reading from the 24th edition at page 263. And on that page, Mr. Speaker, it says, written imputations as affecting a member of parliament may amount to contempt, without perhaps being libels at common law. You're not necessarily saying it's libelous, but their writings could be seen as contempt. It further goes on, Mr. Speaker, at the 3rd paragraph to say, reflections which have been punished as contempt have borne on the conduct of the Lord, reflections which have been punished as contempt have borne on the conduct of the Lord Chancellor in the discharge of his judicial duties in the House of Lords, or that of the chairman of committees. In the same way, reflections on the character of the Speaker or accusations of partiality in the discharge of his duties, or similar charges of the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee or chairman of the standing committees, have attracted the penal powers of Commons. What I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is that members of this House, members of this Parliament, must understand that they have a responsibility to conform to the parliamentary rules and practices, whether they're in Parliament or they're out of Parliament. And it is contemptuous for any member of this Parliament to go in the public square to speak or to write, to reflect upon the conduct of the speaker, or any member for that matter, and to refer to the conduct of the speaker in their language. Let me find the exact wording here. Perpetuating fraud. Mr. Speaker, I can't tell you what to do, but I reject. This Parliament should pass a resolution rejecting and objecting to this kind of conduct from members of this House. That being said, Mr. Speaker, today is the 16th day of February, and if every day was the 16th day of February in Parliament, we have great parliaments. Because indeed, this is not a disruptive parliament by any means. This is not a disruptive parliament at all. It makes me wish every day was the 16th day of February. But maybe we could also say the same for the 16th day of January. Because that too is a historic day, which I'm sure that if Parliament was held on that day, some members will perhaps not attend. And Mr. Speaker, you know something? I feel vindicated. Because if I were a betting man, though I will be able to bet nickels and to encourage people to bet millions, I will be a millionaire today. Because I predicted that today is a day on which members of the opposition will not want to be in this Parliament. But it's a good thing I'm not a betting man, because I do not want any millions from those who will bet on such things. They always do it millions, sir, but not from that source. No, Mark and I are in the same category.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, tomorrow I say is also a historic day in that we will be launching the housing program, and I need to reflect on it a bit so that the public can understand from where we have come
We launched the program.
and where we are going. When we came to office, we promised housing solutions satisfying a broad cross-section of the state, all sectors of the state. But we promised that from the government, through its NHC Housing Corporation, we'll be looking at housing for the indigent and the poor. We have facilitated, over the last few months, the requests of private sector partners. I have indeed signed off on an application to get the support of this Ministry of Sustainable Development for the construction of middle-income homes in whatever selected areas that the investor would like to make his investment. And so that the middle-income earner will have an opportunity from investments by individuals across the country to obtain middle-income homes in developed or highly developed areas. But, Mr. Speaker, the poor and the indigent relies on the government, the program administered by the government that provides an opportunity for them to at least have a shelter, a roof over their heads. And over the past months, Mr. Speaker, while the government was engaging in so many activities promoting economic development in the country, and we can go through them from all the way from VAT reduction to, we were working on how we will put a program in place to satisfy the needs, the many requests of the poor and indigent. And Mr. Speaker, a few months ago you had heard the announcement by the Prime Minister and indeed by the Minister of Labour and Social Security that we had procured some $50 million to be able to carry out that program. Having had that agreement, which will be signed tomorrow as part of the overall program tomorrow morning, we will then embark on a program of construction of houses in various areas. We are not focusing on any constituencies in this program because we're looking at the broad area of St. Kitts, looking at the parishes, the way people are moving and growing, the development, the way the population is growing, and the economic activities that we need in each area. Focusing on various indicators that will help us to determine where to construct houses, where to provide schools, where to provide the recreational facilities to satisfy the needs of our people. And so, Mr. Speaker, if I may just turn to one or two documents which I have to indicate that one of the things that we have done in the run-up to the program tomorrow is to identify some 28 areas in the country where we will be directing priority funding to be able to put in, for example, water, electricity, and ultimately roads, so that those persons who are in a position to approach their financial institutions and borrow, in fact, may have been waiting all these years for the infrastructure to be put in so that they can go and borrow. They will have an opportunity, because in 2017, spoken by the Minister of Public Infrastructure before me, the rollout of the infrastructure will be in several areas, and I just told you some 28 areas have been prioritized. So that individuals, again, let me repeat, we're encouraging persons to go to the financial institutions, borrow, and to get your home constructed. The National Housing Corporation cannot and will not build for every single person in this country. We encourage the private sector, we encourage individuals to go raise the capital and to construct their homes. We will, however, from this $50 million, construct a minimum of 300 homes based on the decisions that we make in terms of the number of rooms. And tomorrow, I said I was not standing to give all of the details because I might discourage you from coming tomorrow, but tomorrow morning, greater detail will be provided in terms of where we will be building, how we will be building, whether it will be bungalows, HS500s or townhouses. That kind of detail should be made available to you tomorrow. And we encourage the general public to turn out at Baker's Wellington Road to witness history in the making, the first 300 home construction of the Team Unity government following the distribution of over 100 which was made a few months ago. Mr. Speaker, I would again indicate that we are focusing on the poor and the indigent. That is our mandate under the National Housing Corporation Act. And the government will ensure that we keep a focus on those who really are in need, so that people will feel at the end of it that the distribution and the allocations are fair, that the persons who receive are deserving, and that there is no political interventions in the distribution of the homes to persons who need. With that, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make this statement on behalf of the ministry.